Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second part of our top 20 drivers of the F1 2018 season, where we're ranking all of the drivers based on this season so far here on absolutemotorsport.com in partnership with the Allo TV network. Let's get straight into it then with the top 10. We're going to go from 10 all the way up to number one. And a few of the drivers we're talking about at the end of the last episode, we're going to be filling out the kind of bottom end of the top 10. And if you missed it, Alonso was one of those names that James Casey came up with. James, can you explain yourself with Alonso, just for those who may have missed the end of last episode?
Yeah, so I was saying that although he had a very strong start to the season, I think lately he's had a real drop-off. A few good races, but as we were kind of mentioning last episode with a few drivers, I think that recently he hasn't lived up to what we know he can do. I think that's down to a lack of motivation, but I think that would be why he would be quite low down in my top 10.
But I put Raikkonen as number 10, to be honest. I don't, this has been maybe his best season at Ferrari since he came back. But that's, he's just lost so many pole positions, so many wins, so many places. I know he's had bad strategies, but he's just made a lot of mistakes. And he's been quite lucky, I think, to, land on the podium 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot more down to fortune than skill, because he should have won a race. He should have won a race. I think, he's got to win the races when Vettel doesn't, and he hasn't done that so far. I mean, neither has Valtteri Bottas, but there are a couple of cases where you can say, bad luck stopped Bottas. There's not a race that stands out to me where you can say, Raikkonen should have won that one. Had he had good reliability, maybe strategy, but then it's a different question whether or not he'd been able to pull that off.
And I think similarly with similar Verstappen to Raikkonen, Raikkonen's 5 podiums in a row I think has been a real upturn in form compared to where he was before. As we say, we're judging the whole season, so I was a bit sceptical, but I think you have persuaded me.
Right,
he'd go 10.
Verstappen as well. Are we going to put him down number 9 or a bit further up perhaps for his efforts in Austria and France?
Again, the Red Bulls in general are quite hard to judge, I would say, though, because of all these retirements that they've been having. They've each had 3 mechanicals, haven't they? And obviously the one crash that took them both out in Baku. So
of course, yes,
it's quite hard to judge. But I think that Verstappen did make a lot of mistakes in those first 6.
I think he has the potential to definitely overturn Ricciardo in the second half, because if we look at the first 6, then it's definitely Ricciardo favour. But if you look at the last 6, Ricciardo hasn't been on the podium since he won in Monaco. He's been a little off the pace some weekends, but then he has had so many reliability issues. It's so hard to judge. So I think we'll leave Ricciardo for now. We've got Magnussen in there as well.
Oh,
he's had a very good season. He's right up there. Is he right up there?
For me, yeah, he's right up there.
All right, fair enough. We'll leave him alone for now. But we've got Raikkonen in P10. We're going to lock Raikkonen in at P10. Alonso, you talked about the gap to Van Dorn, and that gap is really, really large. And I just don't think we could put Alonso that far down when he's had that massive gap to this really high-rated youngster. Been so consistent. If you look, you mentioned the downturn in form as well after Monaco. Van Dorn had a similar downturn in form as well, which suggests it might be car-related rather than Alonso-related.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I'm a bit hypocritical right here, because I'm saying earlier I said about Van Dorn's really poor qualifying record, and then later on in the episode I ended up saying about, well, you score your points on Sunday. But
yeah, well, Alonso has a three position better average in qualifying, and I'm sure if you look at the race, it's even bigger. It feels like every time you watch a race, Alonso's going to finish ahead of Van Dorn if they both finish, and you can't say that about any other teammates.
So maybe a little bit higher, but I still don't think, especially there's been a few races, France where he just spun by himself and blamed it on Vettel, and Germany where he missed out on an opportunity with the rain.
Yeah, very true.
But let's keep on going for a little bit more then with him.
Problem is, isn't it? We don't have. It's not like we're saying Alonso's been bad this season. It's just so hard to kind of mix up this top this top 9. You've got Bottas in there. I mean, we're not touching Vettel or Hamilton for now, are we? They're safe now. We've got Hulkenberg, we've got Leclerc. I think Leclerc has to be in the top 5. Or has he? Or has he been overhyped? Or has those first 2 races he wasn't that good at?
Well, yeah, that's again, yeah, we got to remember those. I think you can be a little bit more lenient with the fact that he was a rookie, but you've got to take into account a little bit. He's had
3 Q3 appearances, but is it more down to the Sauber revival than the Clerk?
yeah, and again, it's hard to judge, isn't it? Because we put Van Dorn last because he was thrashed by Alonso, and yet we've similarly got to compare Leclerc with Ericsson. So,
and also we have put Ericsson 16.
Yeah.
So if you do like to report as our channel, then that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Who are we going to put in 9th then? We've got Hulkenberg in there as well. You know, he's best of the rest in the championship, but you know, has he had one of his best years, or has it just been a case of having the 4th quickest car?
I think he's done a pretty good job. Not amazing.
A worse qualifying average from Sainz has to be noted.
Yeah.
Bit points scored Sunday.
Yeah.
And very good points finishes, only 4 times not in the points, and 3 of those were retirements. Of course, he did lose the opportunity in Baku to get a podium.
As always.
Again, yes. Chronic that. I think we can put that down to some curse he has, rather than any fault of his own. This is really tough. Let's put someone down there.
And you could also chuck in just into the mix. I'm not necessarily saying they go there, but Bottas, quite a lot of bad luck, I accept, but also a few mistakes and missed opportunities would probably be a better word.
But a 0.08 worse average than Lewis Hamilton in qualifying. Now, this is actually down to Hamilton having 14th in Germany. So
yeah,
get that stat. He has been worse. Okay, this is from racefans.net, by the way. I just want to give credit. Bottas, you know, Hungary as well. Obviously, that was pretty catastrophic. You know, he's had a lot of bad luck. Obviously, Baku is the one you really think about, because that was bad. Was it China as well? Where he's leading, the safety car came out, wiped out that great strategy he pulled off.
But I would say with Bottas is that he's had a lot of bad luck from good positions. But then he's also had races where he would be capable of winning, but then he's been a clear second fiddle to Hamilton, which is why he was called the wingman.
Yeah, Hockenheim, he should have overtaken him there. Yeah, that was his chance, to be fair. He had that 1 minute of trying.
See, I think with him...
One pole as well, one pole in what's considered the best.
Yeah,
no poles for Raikkonen, but we have put Raikkonen in 10th, so I think are we going to put Bottas down there then? We're going to put Verstappen. Keep coming back to Verstappen.
They've both. I mean, they've all had a fair lot of bad luck, haven't they?
Yes.
It's really, really tough. No, I think I'd put Verstappen down there because those first 6 races were really bad, weren't they?
Yeah, he'd have been in my bottom 5. So I think that Verstappen is going into number 9.
But the good thing about a season being this long is that he's got plenty of time, hasn't he, to still make up for it. He started to make up for it after those first 6 races, and by the end of the season, he could well be one of our top 3, I think, with the upturn in form. But yeah, I think that's fair enough putting him down there.
Definitely, and the question is, who are we going to put next? Hulkenberg. I do keep coming back to. I just don't know. I'm not entirely convinced on the evidence so far, especially just compared to who else we've got there. You know, I don't think I couldn't make an argument for him being above anyone else left. You got Alonso. Is it Alonso, Bottas, and Hulkenberg? Are they going to be our 6, 7, 8, or is Leclerc in there as well?
No, I'd put Leclerc.
Is he driver season contender? Yeah.
Not quite.
Ricardo as well. We've got because we have put Verstappen down
Yeah.
now, so Ricardo's in there because he has just been off the pace sometimes. He's qualified in the top 4 twice only.
But you look at him and you think, oh, I know. I was going to say something, but it's a bit stupid, really. Because I was going to say every time he's finished, he's been in the top 5, but that doesn't mean anything nowadays in Formula One, does it?
I guess.
Even if you start at the back of the grid, you're still going to come 6th at worst.
He's had 2 podiums, hasn't he? But then it's a good thing, reliability again. It's, who do you blame for that Baku crash? Was that Ricardo? Was that Verstappen? But, I mean, I don't want to dig that up again, but, various things that have happened this year. But I mean, most of it's just been out of their hands. Almost by default, we have to put, same with who's been more unlucky, isn't it, between Bottas and Ricardo, really? I'm feeling Bottas for number 8 then.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bottas. Bad couple of races, I think. He should have. I mean, he hasn't won it. He hasn't won. I mean, he has had bad luck, but there are also certain times when he should have won. There's certain times when he's just been very far off Hamilton's pace.
Yeah.
Times when, of course, he's been the lead, like in Canada. But, should have won in China as well, Baku. He was very strong in those couple of races, but not quite got that consistency, I think. I think I'll put Ricardo 7, or are we going to put him above Hulkenberg?
I would put him behind, I think. Oh no, but those 2 wins were really good though, weren't they?
Well,
The 2 wins were super.
They were good. They were good. The highs were there.
Yeah.
Has Hulkenberg reached the same highs? I mean, you say 5th in Hockenheim, but the problem is it's harder for him to get the headlines, harder for him to get the attention when he has a really good race.
Yeah, and that's why it's so hard to compare, isn't it? You're comparing classes, effectively. But now thinking about it, I think I would put Ricardo ahead, just because, as I say, those 2 wins were real standout performances where you can say that's the making of someone who could win a championship with those kind of wins, with the overtakes and the managing the problem and everything.
Well, it's a driver who can win driver of the day. I'm not sure about a championship. We'll have to see. But yeah, we've got Magnussen left as well. We've got Alonso left.
Yeah.
So we're putting Alonso. Where are we putting him in terms of Ricardo and Hulkenberg?
I would say,
because you seem to be quite unsure.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. As I say, I think I'm still pretty sure it's been a mixed season in terms of the races for Alonso. It's, as you say, his qualifying throughout the season has shown it, but
I mean, even that hasn't been great. It's been good compared to Van Dorn, but it's still been.
Well, yeah, the car, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we did team rankings, then
yeah,
McLaren would be at the bottom, or at least second. Maybe Williams would be at the bottom, but.
So, I would put Alonso around Hulkenberg. I'm not sure whether I put
around. Oh, you got to say that.
I'm not sure whether to put him. So I'd put him below Ricardo.
Below Ricardo. We'll sandwich him. We'll sandwich him then.
Okay.
So just to recap, we've got Ricardo in 5th, Alonso in 6th, and Hulkenberg, Bottas, Verstappen, and Raikkonen, with Ocon just missing out in 11th. Then we've got we have 5 names left. Is that right? No, we've got 4. We've got 4 names left, and that is Vettel, Hamilton, Magnussen, and Leclerc. They are the top 4 drivers of the season. Let's go through them all in no particular order, starting with the championship leader Hamilton. What's he done well this season? 2 wins, Germany and Hungary on tracks that he probably shouldn't have won at.
Yeah.
Germany, of course, very impressive, 14th to 1st. Not the most impressive drive ever, of course, helped by circumstance, but still a lot.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing both sides. But this is the Ferrari side. Weather completely helped him. All his rivals have problems. Team orders, it's rigged. And then the Hamilton side, well, it was a completely good drive in the wets as well. He was at times in the race he was like a second quicker. So I think it's unfair to just say it was down to the luck. Watching. It was really quick in that race.
I think that's yeah. I would agree with that. In Germany, the way he gained positions was lucky. I don't, you can't
Yes.
really deny that. But
No.
it was his pace that put him in a position to gain them, and you don't get to see that when you're off the back because you're out of sync with everyone because you're coming through the field. So he didn't have to do much overtaking, but his pace was incredible, and that's why
Yeah, and
he
what
won the
else?
race.
What else could he do? I mean, that got him
Yeah,
onto the
yeah,
back of the kind of top six, or at least among the top guys.
yeah,
And he couldn't really do much more after that. So, yeah, I definitely rate him for that. You look at mistakes from Hamilton, and I can't really name one massive
and
mistake.
this is why he's
He's
been so strong
yeah,
since he's gone to Mercedes. I would say because when he was at
yes.
McLaren, he made a lot of mistakes, and I don't think he's done that for a good number of
Well,
years now.
and in the past 4 years, yeah, you look at like the odd qualifying error, but really like no major mistakes in the race.
Mm.
I'm sure people will disagree, but for me, he has been more complete this season for Vettel because we come on to Vettel now, and we of course look at Hockenheim, we look at France
Yeah,
as mistakes that cost him. You've got China, of course, which wasn't his fault. He lost
mm.
points there. Um, Excellent wins in Bahrain. That was really, really good
Yeah,
time management. Excellent win in Silverstone. Canada as well. Cars have been pretty much equal, I would say, between Ferrari and Mercedes. It's very ebbs and flowed. Baku as well, of course, mistake there. But credit to him for going for the win, but that was a bit 50-50 really. That gave Hamilton the win, of course, eventually when Spattis got his puncture. I just can't. I have to put Hamilton in front of Vettel. To be
yeah.
honest.
No, I agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah, and then we've got Magnussen. I think he's definitely a lot higher up simply because of what's come before. How bad his 2017 was.
yeah,
2016 as well. He's kind of everything basically previous, and for him to just come out, be the second in the kind of race to be best of the rest, just to get so many consistent point finishes for Haas, it's really, really good. His qualifying's been good, but it's really in the races where he's really kind of picked it up. Second best actually qualifier as well, second best racer. So, really good work and kind of the best of the rest.
yeah. And that's why I put him ahead of Leclerc, but behind the top two. Would be my personal opinion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about Vettel to be honest. I mean, I can't. I think Leclerc is fourth, right? He's done well to get this far, but I
Uh,
think
the one question with Magnussen
yeah.
is his aggression, which has got
Okay.
him in trouble, and that's why I put him behind Vettel. And to be honest, if I'm brutally honest, I think even though Magnussen's done very well with the car that he's got this season, I think that to be honest, Hamilton and Vettel are almost always going to be the top two drivers because personally for me, they are the drivers in their prime and just have the most class. So I think Alonso as well, but I think the motivation from him is why I've had him at
Well, a
lower.
lot of the praise is self-generated with Alonso, isn't it? It's very much he's spinning this own narrative of how great he is.
Yeah,
I'll see past that. Magnussen as well. You say, well, Grosjean's having a bad season. Is it Magnussen having a really good season, or is it just Grosjean having a really bad season, which makes Magnussen look better? Because when that house is working, it seems to be comfortably the fourth quickest car.
yeah, and Grosjean's pace hasn't been a problem. It's just been his
Yes.
consistency, and I think that when they've both been performing, it's still Magnussen's who's just had a little bit of an edge, and I think
Yeah.
that's why he's getting so much plaudits this season.
To be fair, I mean, Leclerc's had a better advantage over Ericsson, but then it is Ericsson, so you've kind of got to,
Yeah,
you know, take it with for that. And we did mention the kind of bad start. He's had a couple of mistakes, of course, but it's been a pretty. This is a textbook rookie season. I think I wouldn't say call it perfect. Verstappen's rookie season was probably better, but this is like a sort of. This is what you need to do to advance up the grid. So, what are we doing there with Magnussen and Leclerc? Have we got? I'll let you have Vettel, Hamilton as our top two. So we've got to put Hamilton. We're going to see. We'll wait and find out who's on number one. But
yeah, we done this in
yeah.
the wrong order, haven't we?
Well, around 3 and 4 then. Are we going to say that's Magnussen and Leclerc?
Yeah,
Who would you like to take people through?
yeah. I would go with that. So Magnussen 3, Leclerc 4.
Okay, that's fair enough. And drum roll, please. Our number one for the season. because he has not really made. I might be missing something here. This probably has made a mistake, but he's not made a major mistake that we remember. I think his race victories as well have been really, really good. He's been really, really strong all season. Even if his off weekends, haven't been abysmal. Austria, of course, was a pretty bad weekend, but he kind of bounced back from that. And
Canada was the low point, wasn't it?
yeah,
He was
that was
there.
bad. And one next time out in France
Yeah.
from pole position.
I think that's been the key, isn't it, with Hamilton? Is he's not had a run of bad races. He's able to bounce back quickly.
Yeah,
I think that's
definitely.
why his season has been as strong as it has been so far.
And I still think he is the favourite for the championship. You just feel like it will come back to him eventually. A lot of the races are like that as well. Like Hockenheim, he kind of managed to come out on top in that one. Azerbaijan, you look at the crazy races, he's tended to come out on top, of course, apart from Austria. But he wasn't that, a decent position there. But we'll have to put Hamilton first, don't we? I think that's the driver of the season so far.
Yeah.
And Vettel number two, very much could change before the end of the year. I think there's a lot of drivers on here that need a good second half. The picture should be clearer as well. Let's hope the Red Bull guys get a lot more luck. They could be a lot higher up. I think, to be honest, most people lists will surely have Hamilton. You've got Hamilton. I mean, Vettel, you could probably make an argument for. Probably make an argument for Leclerc. I think it's got to be one of them three, really, hasn't it? I don't think you can really. I'm sure people can make an argument for anyone, but those three have been really, really strong. Magnussen's been very strong, but I don't think you can quite put him at number one. But there's been a lot of hype around Leclerc as well, I think. If you look at kind of like individual race ratings, I think he's like at the top with Vettel, actually. Vettel, I think, according to most people, is the driver of the season. But according to us here at absolutemotorsport.com, as two individuals, not representative of the company's views, Hamilton has been the driver of the season.
Our final overall order then is Hamilton in first, Vettel, Magnussen, Leclerc, Ricciardo, then it is Alonso, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Verstappen and Raikkonen rounding out the top 10. And from the first part of this mini-series, we voted Ocon in 11th, Gasly 12th, Sainz 13th, then Perez and Grosjean, with Sorokin, Ericsson, Stroll, Hartley and Van Dorn the bottom 5.